The first thing I noticed was not the wheelchair. It was the man blocking her only exit. The afternoon sun had turned the downtown plaza into a sheet of white heat. The smell of roasted nuts, exhaust, and warm concrete hung over the fountain where people crossed between office towers without looking too closely at anyone else's trouble. But trouble has geometry. A man in a charcoal suit stood directly in front of the curb cut, briefcase near his polished shoes, shoulders angled just enough to trap the woman in the manual wheelchair between the fountain ledge and the raised platform. To most people, it probably looked like an argument. To me, it was containment. She held a thick manila envelope against her lap with both hands. Her white shirt was creased from a long day, and the envelope had been bent nearly in half from her grip. Blonde hair had been pulled into a messy bun that looked like it had survived a bad morning and a worse conversation. One tear had dried along her cheek, but she did not wipe it away. Her attention stayed fixed on the man in front of her. "You think a piece of paper changes anything, Nora?" he said. His voice was not loud. That made it worse. People who lose control shout. People who enjoy control lower their voices and make you lean in to hear the threat. "I told you not to come here, Adrian," she said. Her voice shook once, then steadied. "The filing is done. The filing is a joke." Adrian stepped closer, his shadow falling across the envelope in her lap. "Cancel the hearing, call your lawyer, and withdraw the request. You know what happens if you don't?" Nora's chair brakes were locked. Her shoulders stayed straight, but her eyes flicked once toward the blocked curb cut. There it was. She knew the exit was gone. I was 20 feet away, off duty, wearing a blue button-down over a white tee and carrying a coffee I no longer wanted. I had spent 10 years as a crisis negotiator learning the difference between a loud danger and a quiet one. Quiet ones were usually worse. I crossed the plaza. I made my boots audible on the concrete before I spoke. "Excuse me," I said. Adrian turned sharply. His eyes moved over me, measuring size, intent, and inconvenience. "This is private," he said. "Walk away." I did not answer him first. I looked at Nora. "Ma'am, you requested an escort for your 3 o'clock appointment," I said, keeping my tone steady and ordinary. "I'm a few minutes early. Are you ready?" Nora stared at me for 1 second. I saw the calculation move behind her eyes. Fear did not make her slow, it made her precise. "Yes," she said. "I'm ready." Adrian stepped into my path. I said, "We are talking." "You were talking," I said. I shifted just enough to stand between him and the front wheels of her chair, angled without crowding either of them. "She's leaving. If you have a question about the court filing, contact legal counsel." His mouth curled. "You don't know what you're getting into." "I know you're blocking an accessible exit," I said. "That is enough for me." People had started to look. A jogger slowed near the fountain. A man with a paper bag paused by the nut cart. A woman in a gray blazer lifted her phone, not pointed directly at us yet, but ready. Public attention changed the pressure. Adrian noticed. His jaw tightened. Nora released the brakes on her chair with 2 quick clicks. "Step aside," I said. I did not raise my voice. I did not threaten. I just gave the words enough weight to settle in front of him. Adrian picked up his briefcase. "This is not over, Nora." Nora did not answer. She rolled past him toward the curb cut. I stayed half a step behind her left shoulder, close enough to block a second approach, far enough to let her set the pace. Adrian remained near the fountain until we reached the corner. Only then did Nora exhale. The sound left her in one uneven line. "I didn't request an escort," she said. "I know." She looked up at me. "Then why did you say that?" "Because he had blocked the curb cut. You needed an exit he could not argue with." Her hands tightened around the envelope. "Are you police?" "Note. Crisis negotiator," I said. "Ethan Scott." "Nora Bailey." I heard him say it. Her mouth pressed into a thin line. "Adrian Vance. My ex. The hearing is for a final injunction. He has been calling, showing up outside my studio, sending people to ask questions about me, and telling everyone I am unstable because I want distance from him." There was the first anchor. Why she was here? A court hearing, a protective injunction, a documented pattern. "What does he want?" I asked. "What? He wants the hearing dropped before the judge sees the tracking logs." "And if you don't drop it?" She looked across the street at the courthouse. "He tries to make everyone around me too exhausted to stay." My family stopped answering calls. My old coworkers blocked him first, then me. Everyone said they supported me until his attention reached them. There was the second anchor. His leverage was not only fear. It was isolation. She stopped at the base of the courthouse ramp and turned her chair toward me. "This is the part where you go home," she said. I looked at the heavy envelope in her lap. "You have police reports?" "Yes." "Voicemails?" "Yes." "Digital tracking logs?" "Yes." "And a hearing in 20 minutes?" She nodded. There was my buy-in. Not romance. Not pity. A threat had tried to stop a person from reaching a lawful protection hearing. That was work I understood. "I'll walk you to the courtroom," I said. "After that, you decide whether I stay in the hallway or leave." Her eyes searched my face. "You should know the truth first." "Nora." "No. Everyone leaves when they learn how much comes with me." Her voice stayed quiet, but the words had edges. "I use a wheelchair. I have an ex who treats my independence like an insult. I have court dates, access problems, medical appointments, a landlord who takes 3 weeks to fix a light bulb, and bad days where getting out the door takes everything I have. People say they can handle it. Then they realize Adrian does not stop, and neither does the inconvenience." The courthouse doors opened as someone stepped out into the heat. She looked toward them, then back to me. "Would you be any different?" The title words did not come as a plea. They came as a warning. I did not offer a promise. Promises were easy to make in sunlight. "I can be different for the next 20 minutes, I said. "Then we reassess." A tiny line appeared between her brows. "That is not romantic." "No," I said. "It is reliable." For the first time, her mouth almost moved toward a smile. "Okay, Ethan Scott, 20 minutes." The courthouse smelled of floor wax, printer toner, and old paper. Security checked our bags. The guard looked at the envelope in Nora's lap, then at the printed hearing notice she handed over herself. She did not need me to speak for her. I stayed beside her through the lobby and up the elevator to the 3rd floor. Outside courtroom 3B, she stopped. "It's closed," she said. "I go in alone. I'll wait here unless you ask otherwise." She nodded once, then pushed through the door. For 47 minutes, I sat on a wooden bench and mapped exits without meaning to. Elevator, stairwell, court officer, side hallway, security camera above the water fountain. My phone buzzed. Miles. My partner at the crisis unit. "You vanish on lunch or get recruited by trouble?" I typed back. "Court escort, potential stalking case, cover me 20. He replied almost immediately. "Only 20? I looked at the courtroom door. Maybe more. When the door finally opened, Nora rolled out with a folded paper in her hand. Her face was pale, but she was upright. "I got it," she said. "Permanent injunction, 500 feet from my home and workplace. No direct contact. No third-party contact." "That is a good step." "Step," she repeated. The word landed hard, because she knew what I knew. Paper mattered. But paper did not lock doors, light alleys, or stop a man who believed consequences were meant for other people. "Do you have a safe way home?" I asked. "I have a rideshare." "Accessible?" She gave me a dry look. "Eventually." "Do you want me to wait until it arrives?" Nora looked toward the elevator. The envelope was less crumpled now, but her fingers still rested on it like she expected someone to take it. "Yes," she said. "Please." We waited outside the courthouse for 26 minutes. When the accessible van finally arrived, I checked the driver's plate, company badge, and ramp lock before Nora rolled forward. "Do you do that for everyone?" she asked. "Only people with active threat profiles." "That sounds exhausting." "It is familiar." She paused at the van door. "I live in a ground floor studio off Mason Street. I'm not inviting you in, but if you want to look at the outside lock, you can." I nodded. "You decide what I see." Her shoulders lowered by 1 careful inch. "Then follow the van." Nora's building sat at the edge of the industrial district, a 3-story brick structure with cracked steps on one side and a concrete ramp on the other. The studio windows faced the alley. The porch light over her door was out. The deadbolt stuck twice before she got it open. I stayed on the walkway while she entered. "You can look from there," she said through the half-open door. I looked. Loose strike plate, short screws, weak frame, dead porch bulb, window air conditioner with no bracket, standard glass, visible latch, no alarm sticker, no camera, no margin. "The door can be reinforced tonight," I said. 10 minutes if you approve it. The AC bracket can wait until tomorrow. The porch light needs the landlord or a licensed electrician, but a battery motion light can cover the gap." Nora watched me through the doorway. "How much?" "A glass of water." She narrowed her eyes. "That is not a price." It is what I charge for 10 minutes of screws and a strike plate. I do not like owing people. Then put it on a list and argue with me later. A short breath left her. Not quite a laugh, but closer than the courthouse had given her. Fine, she said. Fix the door. But I stay inside. Good. I retrieved the kit from my truck. The drill filled the small porch with a clean mechanical whine. 3-inch screws bit into the frame. The new strike plate seated hard. When I finished, I stepped back. Try it. Nora rolled forward and turned the lock. The bolt slid home with a solid, clean sound. Click. She unlocked it. Click. Locked it again. Click. Her shoulders loosened. That sound mattered more than any speech I could have made. It never sounded like that before, she said. It should have. She looked at the door, then at me. You're really coming back tomorrow for the AC bracket? At 4? Unless you text no. I can text no? I can text no? Yes. Another small shift in her face. Permission. 4, she said. I walked down the ramp and waited until the door closed. The new deadbolt clicked behind me. By the end of the second week, the pattern had formed without either of us naming it. I came when invited. I fixed one vulnerability at a time. Then I left. The AC bracket went in first, then a battery motion light, then a better peephole, then an encrypted cloud folder for her legal documents. I did not ask for personal details unless they changed the threat picture. I did not push her chair. I did not step inside without clear permission. Nora worked near the front window at a drafting table covered in floor plans, blue pencils, and sticky notes written in tiny block letters. She was an architectural drafter for a firm downtown. When she focused, the whole room seemed to organize itself around the sound of her stylus. The first time she made coffee, she set a mug on the counter near the door. Black, no sugar. You remembered, I said. You said it once. I say many things once. I retain useful information. The next afternoon, I planted thorny rose bushes beneath her front window. Nora rolled onto the porch, holding a folder and a small first aid kit. You are bleeding, she said. I looked at the back of my wrist. A thorn had drawn a thin red line. Minor. Minor things get infected. And I work with crisis scenes, Nora. I know how to clean a scratch. Then clean it. She held out the kit. I took it and stepped to the porch rail, leaving space between us while I wiped the cut. The alcohol stung. A truck passed on Mason Street. The porch light above us flickered once. Still useless. Why roses? She asked. No one likes climbing through thorns in the dark. Tactical gardening. Tactical gardening. Old trick. I like it. She said the words while looking at the rose bushes, not at me. For some reason, that made the porch feel warmer. Then she opened the folder on her lap. I have an in-person presentation Thursday. If I get it, I become lead drafter on the Meridian build. That is good. It is downtown. Adrian's firm is downtown. 3 blocks from the building. The threat map rebuilt itself in my head. Is that workplace listed on the injunction? No. My home and regular office are, not the client headquarters. Then we plan the route. Nora looked up. You are not going to tell me to skip it? No. Everyone else would. Everyone else is not looking at the route. Her fingers moved over the folder's edge. I want this project. Then you do the presentation, I said. I handle perimeter. You choose the access points. The morning of the presentation, rain threatened but had not fallen yet. I pulled up at 8:55 and waited beside the truck while Nora came down the ramp. She wore a dark blazer and carried a portfolio tube across her lap. She transferred into the passenger seat on her own. I folded the chair and secured it in the back. No commentary. No unnecessary help. She watched me check the strap twice. You always check equipment twice? Only if people depend on it. The client headquarters was a glass tower with an underground garage and a lobby so polished the floor looked wet. Nora directed the route: accessible parking, elevator, security desk, east side turnstile. At the checkpoint, she handed over her badge and looked at me. I'll meet you here when I'm done. I'll be on that sofa. Watching exits? Professionally. That earned me a real smile. Then she rolled toward the elevators. 2 hours later, the doors opened. Nora came out with her portfolio tube balanced on her lap and a smile she could not quite contain. Her badge swung against her blazer as she rolled toward me. I got it, she said. Lead drafter. The lobby noise seemed to sharpen around her. Phones ringing, shoes on stone, rain tapping the glass doors. Her smile made all of it brighter. You handled the blueprints, I said. And you handled the sofa. It was a difficult post. She laughed. Then the revolving door spun. Adrian walked in. His umbrella dripped onto the lobby floor. His suit was dry, except for the shoulders. He looked up, saw Nora, and began moving toward us before the door had completed its turn. Nora's smile vanished. Her hands locked on the wheels. Elevator, I said quietly. Now. She moved. I stepped into Adrian's path. Move, he said. You are within 500 feet of a protected party. She is not at her home or workplace. She is present. That means you leave. Security had already noticed. 2 guards started toward us. Adrian's eyes cut past me to Nora. She turns every room into a problem, Ethan, he said. Eventually, you will get tired of solving them. The old version of me wanted to answer anger with force. The trained version counted exits. The better version remembered Nora. I kept my hands visible. Security? I called, calm and clear. This man is named in an active protective injunction. Case number is in my phone. The guards closed in. Sir, one said to Adrian, step outside with us. Adrian looked at Nora one last time. This is not protection. This is delay. Then security walked him out. I turned toward the elevator. Nora waited inside, holding the door open. Her face had gone pale, but her hand stayed on the button. When the doors closed, she stared straight ahead. He knew I would be here. He guessed a public headquarters tied to your presentation. He still found me. Yes. Her fingers tightened on the folder. The elevator light blinked above us. Lobby. Garage. Lobby. Garage. He tried to take the win, she said. He failed. She looked at me then. I got lead drafter. You got lead drafter. The elevator reached the garage. She took one breath, then another. What comes next? First, we add the client headquarters to the injunction. Second, we request building security footage. Third, we celebrate somewhere with better parking. The corner of her mouth moved. Practical celebration. My specialty. The midpoint hit 2 days later. I was finishing a 12-hour shift when Nora texted. He found a new door. I called before the second buzz. What happened? He sent a notice to my landlord. His investment firm intends to buy the building. I was already moving toward my truck. I'm on my way. Do you want Miles on the phone while I drive? A pause. Yes. That was new. Trust did not always sound like affection. Sometimes it sounded like letting a second person witness the fear. Miles stayed on speaker while I drove. He asked Nora procedural questions. Date of notice, purchase timeline, landlord response, whether Adrian's name appeared directly or through an LLC. By the time I reached Mason Street, Nora had the documents organized on her drafting table. She opened the door before I knocked. Cardboard boxes sat against the wall. That sight said more than any sentence. He is buying the building, she said. If his company owns it, he can claim inspection rights, maintenance, repairs, access. The injunction does not stop a landlord from entering with notice. He intends to buy it, I said. Has the sale closed? No. Then we have time. 30 days. I rolled the notice toward me. Do you have your lease? Top drawer. Blue folder. I read for 2 hours at her kitchen table under harsh overhead light. Nora sat at her drafting desk, pretending to revise a floor plan and not succeeding. Miles remained on speaker for the first hour, then left to contact the Municipal Accessibility Office. At 10:58, I found the clause. Section 14, paragraph C. Nora rolled closer. I turned the lease toward her. In the event of ownership transfer, a tenant with documented accessibility modifications receives a 90-day relocation protection period. During that period, the new owner cannot enter the unit without city-appointed mediation unless there is an immediate emergency. She read the paragraph once. Then again, her hand rose to cover her mouth. He missed it. His lawyers missed it because it is a municipal accessibility addendum. It only appears in retrofitted ground floor units. Can we use it? You can use it, I said. I can help prepare the packet, but you sign the affidavit. She looked at the boxes. The room was quiet except for the refrigerator hum and the distant traffic outside. I had already started packing. I saw. I thought, this was where you left. I am still at the table. Her eyes moved back to me. Why? Because he is using a system to bully you, and systems have rules. The next morning, the system pushed back. The courthouse clerk shook her head at the emergency addendum. The original judge is on leave. Earliest hearing is 3 weeks. The sale is scheduled to close in 2, Nora said. I understand. If the sale closes, the buyer can begin inspection notices. The clerk looked through the glass. 3 weeks. Outside, rain hit the truck windshield hard enough to blur the courthouse steps. Nora sat in the passenger seat, both hands resting on the folded lease. 3 weeks, she said. We go to the city accessibility office. And no. I looked at her. She kept her eyes forward. No more side doors. No more loopholes. No more asking you to rearrange your life around my emergency. You are not asking. I am about to. Her voice hardened because it had to. Take me home. I'm packing. Nora. No. If I stay, he targets you next. If I leave, it stops spreading. That is not true. It has been true every time. Rain ticked against the roof. I kept my hands on the steering wheel. In negotiation, when someone reaches the barricade, you do not charge it. You mark the location and step back before trust breaks completely. I'll take you home, I said. She turned her face toward the window. Thank you. For 48 hours, I stayed away. Not because I was done. Because she had asked for space. I worked my shifts. I answered calls. I listened to strangers on the worst days of their lives and gave them calm instructions while my own apartment waited silent after midnight. On the third day, Miles dropped coffee beside my incident report. You look like the report insulted your mother. Nora is leaving. Because she wants to? Because she thinks it keeps me safe. Let me. Miles leaned against the counter. That is not the same answer. I cannot override her choice. No, he said. But you can bring her better information before she makes it. That was the line I needed. Not pressure. Information. Miles and I spent 4 hours assembling a packet for the Municipal Accessibility Office. Lease clause, injunction, police reports, property purchase notice, landlord emails, photos of the retrofitted entrance, and Nora's affidavit draft with every blank clearly marked for her to approve or reject. The city did not issue a miracle. It issued a temporary administrative stay pending review. 14 days. A hearing required. Nora's signature required. The sale paused. Not solved. Paused. I drove to Mason Street at 6 and sent a text from the sidewalk. I have information. You decide whether to open the door. The blinds moved. Nora looked out. Behind her, boxes covered half the studio. A minute later, the door opened. She stayed inside. I stayed on the ramp. This is not me telling you to stay, I said, holding up the envelope. This is the city's response. Read it first. If you still want to leave after that, I will help you plan the safest route out. She took the envelope. Her eyes moved across the first page, then stopped. Temporary administrative stay. Yes. 14-day hearing. Yes. The sale is paused until the city reviews whether the purchase is being used to bypass an accessibility protection and a domestic injunction. Yes? She looked up. I have to sign the affidavit. You do, not me. The envelope lowered in her lap. You did not fix it without me. No, you brought me a choice. Yes. The porch light clicked on above us, the battery unit catching the fading evening. Nora looked back at the boxes, then at the paper, then at me. I want to sign. I handed her a pen. She signed on the porch rail, pressing hard enough to leave marks on the page beneath. When she finished, she looked at the boxes again. I am still scared. I know. I might still leave someday. I know that too. And you would help, if that is what you choose? What? Nora folded the order with both hands, then set it beside the deadbolt key on the small table inside the doorway. For the first time since I met her, the chair brakes clicked off before she asked what came next. What comes next? She said. We file the signed affidavit with the city, then we prepare for the hearing. Her eyes stayed on mine. And after that? After that, I come back tomorrow at 4. The second window still needs a bracket. A quiet laugh escaped her. Small, tired, real. 4, she said. The final city hearing happened 2 weeks later, in a boardroom at City Hall. Nora arrived in a gray blazer with her hair pinned neatly at the back of her head. The manila envelope sat on her lap, new and unbent this time. I met her at the ramp outside, but she entered first. Adrian was already inside with 2 corporate attorneys. He looked at me, then at Nora, and tried to smile. Still collecting helpers? Nora rolled to the head of the table. No, she said. I started collecting evidence. The mediator called the hearing to order. Adrian's attorney argued that the purchase was a standard investment acquisition. Nora opened the envelope and placed three documents on the table: the injunction, the purchase notice, and the city accessibility addendum. Then she spoke for herself. Adrian Vance contacted me directly and indirectly after I requested protection. When direct pressure failed, his firm attempted to purchase my building. That purchase would give him inspection access to my adapted unit and undermine the injunction the court already granted. Her voice did not shake. The mediator looked at Adrian. Mr. Vance, did your firm initiate this offer after the injunction hearing? Adrian's attorney began to answer. The mediator raised one hand. I asked Mr. Vance. Adrian's mouth tightened. Yes? The mediator turned the page. Were you aware Miss Bailey resides in a retrofitted accessible unit covered by a municipal transfer addendum? No. Nora placed one more document on the table. This is the email his office sent my landlord asking whether the ramp, door, and bathroom modifications were permanent fixtures. That was 3 days before the purchase notice. The room went silent. Adrian's attorney stopped writing. I stood along the wall beside Miles, who had come as a witness to the packet preparation. My hands stayed folded in front of me. This was Nora's room now. The mediator read the email, then looked at Adrian. The purchase is denied pending full civil review. Your firm is barred from acquiring or entering the property during the active injunction period. Any future contact regarding Miss Bailey's residence goes through council and city mediation. Adrian leaned back. This is excessive. Nora looked at him. No, excessive was trying to buy my front door. The mediator stamped the order. The sound cracked across the boardroom table. Case closed. Outside, the afternoon sun hit the downtown plaza just as it had 6 weeks earlier. The fountain ran bright. The smell of roasted nuts and hot concrete drifted across the walkway. Nora stopped near the curb cut. The same curb cut Adrian had blocked. Only this time, no one stood in front of it. She looked at the fountain, then at me. It's over. The city order is in place. The injunction stands. The building sale is dead. That sounds like negotiator language. It is. She reached into her bag and took out the brass spare key to her deadbolt. I should probably take this back. I held out my hand, palm open. She placed the key there. Then she did not let go right away. For 1 second, both of her hands closed over mine around the metal. Not tight, not desperate. A decision, not a rescue. Keep it, she said. Not because I need saving, because I want you to be able to come home too. The plaza noise moved around us. Footsteps, water, traffic, the nut vendor calling to someone across the path. I looked at the key in my palm. You are sure? I am. You can change your mind. I know. And if you do? And if you do, I will ask for the key back. I closed my fingers around it. Fair. She smiled then, and the expression did not look like relief alone. It looked like ownership of the day, of the exit, of the life Adrian had tried to shrink until every path led back to him. We crossed the plaza together, not because she needed me to clear the way, but because we were going in the same direction. By the end of the 6th week, Nora's studio looked different. Not because I had taken it over, because she had. The boxes were gone. The drafting table had moved closer to the window. The thorny roses beneath the glass had started putting out new leaves. The motion light worked. The AC bracket held. A printed copy of the city order sat in a labeled folder beside the injunction, the security plan, and her Meridian lead drafter contract. Her work had changed too. The project she had won became the first building design she insisted include accessible routes from every public entrance, not as afterthoughts, but as primary paths. I am tired of being grateful for side doors, she told her project team during a video meeting. I heard it from the kitchen while repairing a loose cabinet hinge. The next morning, she printed the revised blueprint and rolled it across the table toward me. What do you think? I looked at the main entrance lines, the curb angles, the ramp grade, the placement of benches, the sight lines from the security desk. You designed it so no one can block a person without being seen. Nora tapped the corner of the page. Geometry of a threat. I looked up. You remembered. I retain useful information. There it was again. The quiet warmth of repetition. Coffee on the counter. Rose thorns under the window. A deadbolt that clicked cleanly. A brass key in my pocket that was not a claim. It was permission. One evening, after my shift, I arrived at 4 with a replacement porch bulb, even though the battery light still worked. Nora opened the door before I knocked. You are early. 3 minutes. Scandalous. I'll file a report. She moved back from the doorway, leaving it open. Inside, 2 mugs waited on the counter. Black coffee for me. Tea for her. The manila envelope from the plaza sat on the shelf above the drafting table, no longer bent from fear. Under it was a sticky note in Nora's handwriting. Not alone does not mean not capable. I read it once, then looked away before it could become too large in the room. Nora noticed. Of course she did. She rolled to the table and placed a new paper between us. It was not legal. Not a police report. Not a city order. It was a dinner reservation for Friday at 7. Accessible entrance confirmed. Table height confirmed. No steps. No. Side door. I looked at her. You inspected the restaurant. I called and made them describe the entrance. Thorough. I learned from someone annoying. That person sounds effective. He is. Her fingers rested near the reservation. This is not because I need an escort. I know. And not because I am afraid to go alone. I know. I just want you there. The room went quiet. Not heavy. Not dangerous. Just full. I took the pen from the table and wrote one word at the bottom of the reservation. Yes. Then I dated it. Nora laughed. You date dinner reservations? I document important decisions. That is very you. Reliable, not romantic? She tilted her head. Both, actually. The deadbolt clicked softly behind us as the door settled fully shut. Outside, the roses moved against the window in the evening wind. Inside, Nora picked up the reservation and placed it beside the brass key bowl near the door. A clear path. A chosen door. A future with no one blocking the exit. The end. Closing thoughts. Core lesson. Real safety is built with consent, consistency, and shared tools. Green flag. They protect your choices before stepping into your life. Please like and subscribe so we can share more stories like this.